It also has been kind of a weird quarter for Netflix. And I know it's kind of weird. This is a show for creators. We're talking a lot about Netflix. I think it's going to be a common theme here because really, like I said, more than ever, Netflix and YouTube are head to head with one another. They are symbiotic, yes, but they're also going to butt up against one another quite a bit. So I just want to give a little bit of context about what's happening at Netflix because it speaks to that battle and just how powerful YouTube is. So if in the last segment, I landed on Netflix's side a little bit in my devil's advocacy, in this one, you'll see just how much I think that YouTube is dominating the space overall. So from, let's see, this is from the Wall Street Journal. Netflix's revenue rose 17% to $11.5 billion in the third quarter from the same period the year earlier, just below its own forecast for the period. The company said Tuesday that it recorded its best ever quarter for ad sales and is on track to more than double revenue from that business this year. So better revenue overall and better ad revenue than ever before. So that's the Wall Street Journal. From Bloomberg, Netflix Inc. shares fell since the most since April 2022 after a tax dispute with Brazil cut into third quarter earnings and raised growth concerns among investors. Used to positive surprises from the streaming leader. Operating income was up to $3.24 billion during the period, according to the statement Tuesday, about $400 million below the company's forecast and analyst estimates. For the first time in more than 2 years, revenue failed to beat Wall Street estimates, according to data compiled by Bloomberg. Netflix shares fell as much as 10% to $1,117 on Wednesday, the biggest intraday drop in more than 3 years. Last thing from Bloomberg, investors have worried that Netflix customers aren't increasing the amount of time they spend on the service about the potential danger of video created by artificial intelligence. The vast majority of growth in streaming has been going to free services like YouTube, Roku, and Tubi. Netflix sought to address those concerns in its letter to shareholders, touting a record subscriber engagement in the most recent quarter. I'll talk more about that in a second, but I want to leave it there for a second. So just to review, more revenue than ever before, better ads than ever before, shares falling more than in the last 3 years.
You're saying more revenue for Netflix?
For Netflix, yeah. But their shares fell because they couldn't meet expectations, right? And people are also concerned about kind of the headwinds that they're facing, right, when it comes to free services and when it comes to artificial intelligence. So I want to leave it there, and then I'll probably buttress your point here in a second, because their letter to shareholders was actually really concerning to people, and Netflix probably didn't even realize it. So first, your response.
We're talking about how we're trying to give credit to Sony and the animators, right? And then also give the flowers to Netflix. Set that aside. Say everything you just said is correct, and they're the ones responsible for being big. How much money did YouTube make off of that?
That's very true.
Freaking A. All those ads that play on the Sony Animation Channel music videos, how much does YouTube take? Like at least 55% or something like that, right?
I don't know their licensing deal when it comes to music, but in an average video, I think it's 45%.
YouTube did no work. YouTube literally did no work, and they made money off of everything. So think about the freaking gangsterness of that. I just made up a word. That gangsterness, they just stole all that value. That value could have been at Netflix, and that's what. Okay, remember how I said Netflix, to be fair, if you put Demon Hunters, the K-pop Demon Hunters on YouTube, I don't think it would have had the same success as a movie yet that it did on Netflix, and it has everything to do with ads.
Yeah, I want to hear your explanation of that, because we're going to talk more about it in a second.
Because
I want to hear.
There's no ads when I watch it on Netflix.
That's true.
And you don't want ads in a movie as much as like I advocate for YouTube and the ads I make money off of. When you watch a movie, you don't want ads, because that's the most annoying thing happening on streaming platforms out of necessity, because they have to make money to be able to survive, right? But when I watch K-pop Demon Hunters, because we're paying for the top premium one, right? Creme de la creme, no ads viewing experience. No commercials played when we watch it, okay? Mm-hmm. But the problem is we have to pay for Netflix, and we can watch it there. On the flip side of that, you do have to watch an ad right? Or pay for premium on YouTube to watch all those music videos or those creative renditions or whatever related on YouTube. But anybody can watch them. And the thing is, people are willing to watch the ads, to watch the free music video version versus go over to Netflix and watch the clean version because they don't want to scour through the movie. Like what I would actually do, for sure, like, I don't know, like, why they don't think about doing this.
Like break out the music videos.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
and
very
they
true.
do actually have that. I mean, like, maybe you could look for it neutrally to see if that's a thing, but no one's watching it if it's there. But yeah, break them all out so that you have the option. Like they always have the option below the movie. Hey, these are other movies you might want to watch. I would have all those music videos there just as an option to capture that runoff that YouTube is betting. I mean, just set aside everything I said, just the amount of viewership and the actual amount of time people spending on YouTube and the money made from doing nothing. They can do this with everything, even like the Top Gun Maverick movie, right? That I watch clips on YouTube because it's easier to watch this one badass scene where he shoots down like he's like famous for being an ace, shooting down 5 fighter pilots. He did that all on YouTube to me, and there was an ad that played on that video, and the I don't know, maybe they share it. The thing is that clip that I watch isn't even on the studio's channel. It's just this like movie review channel.
Yeah. The flip side of that, though, is that to your point earlier, by putting it on YouTube, it actually opens up the audience broader and maybe makes them into subscribers of Netflix eventually, right? Because they get to watch these music videos that are really popular and see all these YouTubers making content that they like.
Maybe.
And they're like, oh, well, maybe I should go to Netflix and subscribe.
Maybe, but they had to watch a YouTube video and pay their dues, right?
Yeah, in that regard, that's
the
true.
money. I don't know. Like, I just think the perspective of YouTube's benefit outweighs everything for Netflix because that is their business, right? That's Netflix's business to make movies. So of course they should have a movie that pops off once in a while. But then to have a whole nother business, whole nother platform, and YouTube be able to basically steal from it. You know what I just thought when you were talking about all this? Netflix or YouTube is to Netflix what TikTok is to YouTube, right? Like TikTok is everything YouTube
That's very true.
wasn't and couldn't be, and now is trying to be. And YouTube is everything that Netflix can't be, right? But Netflix wants to be. You get the smaller version, the quick version, the quick hit on TikTok, right? Shorts. Now there's YouTube Shorts, right? But then YouTube is like everything that you want to get out of Netflix, but it's not there. So you go to YouTube to do it, right? It's kind of interesting how that
it's kind of a feeder system all the way up the ecosystem to some degree, right? Like you go from the smallest to the biggest.
Yeah. I don't even know what's happening on TikTok.
Yeah. In terms of K-pop Demon Hunters? Oh yeah, I'm sure it's very popular. And arguably probably even more social because people can remix, comment more, do all of those things
the
like
dances
that. Exactly.
and do the song. I didn't even think about that.
I do want to kind of talk more about the head-to-head between Netflix and YouTube, though, which is that one of the reasons why the stocks fell is because they published their own letter to their investors about things that they saw as positive, right? And so one of the things they pointed out is they have these graphs, right? And if you imagine all the way on the left side, back in 2022, they have Netflix at 7.5% of TV time, viewing time. We obsess over this with the Nielsen gauge. And then they fast forward to 2025 and it's 8.6%. So 7.5 to 8.6%. They gained 1.1 percentage points, which is a 14% increase over the past 3 years, basically, or 2 years or so. Yeah, 3 years. Then they have all other streaming, which goes from 24% to 37%, and then they stack all the rest of them all the way up to the top. So Netflix published this, and they said, our successful slate, and they're talking about K-pop Demon Hunters here, helped us drive record TV view share in Q3 in the United States and United Kingdom, two of our largest markets. Based off of Nielsen and Barb data from 2022 to 2025, our quarterly for TV view share has grown 15% and 22% in the US and UK respectively, as you see in the charts below, the ones I just described. Given the still substantial amount of linear viewing globally, we believe there's plenty of opportunity to expand our TV engagement if we continue to improve. So they publish these things and they're talking about their growth and they have these revenue growths, but their stock plummets. Why is that? That doesn't seem to match up, right? Well, they didn't meet estimates. That's one thing. But there's also this graph, right? Which shows that they've grown from 7% to 8%. But if you look at the entirety of streaming overall, they've grown less than the entirety of streaming overall. And where has the rest of that gone to? To all of these free ad-supported services like YouTube. And so for them, they were so in their own world that they didn't even realize how this would look to the outside world.
That's what I was saying about the Netflix CEO was being in their own world for a good reason. Like he's super biased. But I'm telling you, like YouTube is like, if they're the moon, YouTube is like, isn't Jupiter like way bigger than the moon, right?
Yeah, actually, it's a good question. I assume
I think
so.
Jupiter
Yeah,
is,
I would
right?
imagine
Like it's
so.
a
Bigger than the
gigantic,
Earth,
okay?
right?
Right. And so like literally, so the moon is here. It's like a significant thing, right? We rely on the moon. We love the moon. Like it comes here. It's reliable every single day. But then you got Jupiter coming over here,
Yeah.
and like just the gravitational pull of Jupiter is stealing everything good from the moon because it's so massive. But then the person on the moon is acting like, oh yeah, we're so amazing because of this, and they're literally being overshadowed by the greatness of YouTube's like platform just viewership.
So more from Ben Thompson in this article. He says, the other way to interpret those graphs is not that Netflix is gaining share in TV, but that they're losing share in streaming, and they have been for several years now.
Did I just literally go on a rant about that?
Both views are correct, to be sure, but I get the sense that Netflix got fixated on its own interpretation of these graphs and didn't anticipate how investor sentiment might lead to a different interpretation. What is encouraging is that for a third quarter running, advertising was given explicit credit for revenue growth. Of course, you can interpret that as revenue growth from customer acquisition slowing down, but that has long been inevitable. It's important and notable that Netflix seems to have gotten a new driver up and running just in time to take place of customer growth, particularly since this new driver isn't governed by things like elasticity or the total number of people in the world, as long as Netflix keeps growing the time spent and starts measuring better. So here's why I bring this part up, which is that the game for Netflix is no longer acquiring and keeping customers. That still is, obviously, but their number one driver of growth more and more is going to become advertising revenue. And how do you drive the value of advertising revenue? The tried and true way, there's lots of other smaller ways, but the tried and true way is to get more eyeballs on your platform more often and for longer. And so that puts them in a direct head-to-head competition with YouTube for attention. And, Netflix has been smart enough to be, advertising this to their investors for a long time, that they care about watch time. But given everything we just said, you have to look at YouTube and you have to think, well, geez, when you, as a YouTube, and I want to bring it down to the creator level at this point. We've talked a lot of really high level stuff. Let's bring it down to the creator level at this point. To me, this represents the importance and the size of the opportunity of being a YouTuber and starting on YouTube right now, which is that you can go from posting K-pop Demon Hunters, lyric videos or, dances as a family vlogger to having your own Netflix movie or show. You literally can go from end to end, because what's going to happen is that those people who are singing K-pop Demon Hunter songs are going to get an audience. They're going to get a following over time. They're going to keep cranking away over time. And some of them are going to increase their production. They're going to create their own little mini show on YouTube. And then Netflix is going to look at that and say, hey, we actually want to buy your show. We've seen it with Mark Rober. We've seen it with Miss Rachel. We've seen it with Dude Perfect. You go down the list of people who are making Netflix shows who were YouTubers, and the list just keeps getting longer. And given this, Netflix is going to want to capitalize on that as well. And so all I'm saying is that it's a great time to be a YouTuber, in my opinion. And right now, YouTube is very well positioned against Netflix to be super successful for the next 10, 20, 30 years even, potentially.
Even more tangible, rather than going from YouTube to Netflix, how about just going viral on YouTube and then becoming a YouTuber, right? Like I mentioned the whole Sam and Nia story.
Yes.
And getting an audience. And, like what I think strategically is, this is kind of the game for creators whenever there is a viral hit. So in this case, a viral movie like K-pop Demon Hunters. you try to do those music videos. Now, they're hustling out there now. Like these people will do a music video rendition of every single song in K-pop Demon Hunters, and you only need one of them to pop off. But if you have a lot of them pop off, you make a lot of money. But then, like, how do you migrate that success into like something sustainable? Because people aren't going to keep watching your different renditions like forever and ever. So in the case of like, think about the audience that likes K-pop Demon Hunters. What is the type of content that you want to create that also they want to see post K-pop Demon Hunters viralness?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the strategy. But the thing is, it's happening. People are doing this, and then they're becoming maybe like K-pop super fan vloggers or something like that. Okay. Because if you're into K-pop, there's probably a good chance that a good group of them love K-pop. So you could do like a K-pop fan vlog channel and like cover K-pop content or follow a certain band. And to me, that's what's fascinating for creators. That was happening in the Frozen era, right? Over 10 years ago. Still happening now, but guess what? Even more success. And especially if you think about what I'm just talking about, longer videos are working. Because, you know, where K-pop Demon Hunters ends, creators keep it going, right? I talked about YouTube keep it going, but really it's the creators that keep it going, literally with their own, you know, like creative renditions of it. But then like, what else do they do beyond that? And a lot of them do vlogs that are maybe correlated to it. Yeah. So like Sam and Nia, what they did was they captured a family audience, right? Because it became a family a channel. That makes sense. People that were fans of the movie that saw that viral singing video of them maybe continue following their family and going into that. So it just proves that creators know how to take advantage of anything happening culturally, right, in society, but also sustaining it. Because, you know, I talk about how YouTube basically stole a whole bunch of attention and made a lot of money. Well, dude, the creators, they're just taking it and going the distance with it. And so the whole Netflix thing, to me, that's like the Super Bowl. But I mean, does anybody complain if they get into the NFL? That's what's kind of interesting. Like, just get in the NFL, just become a creator, and you do it. And we're talking about big, audacious stuff, viral videos, getting a Netflix deal. Even what if you just start a channel right now? Because guess what? There's a lot of attention on YouTube. Never better than right now.